And this is how this is the wave. The wave has crashed over.
샘 리처드 교수가 한국의 대학 강단에 섰습니다. 지금까지 30년이 넘는 기간 동안 사회학자로 살아오며 이토록 열정적으로 연구할 수 있었던 이유와 한국에서 느낀 점들에 관해 이야기했는데요. 한국의 명문대 중 한 곳으로 손꼽히는 학생들의 질문 또한 이어지니 끝까지 시청해주세요. 영상 바로 보여드리겠습니다.
Just show you. So I started teaching at Penn State 31 years ago, and over time, my teaching and my way of being has evolved into this. This is the trailer for my class. Twice a week, for 15 weeks in a semester, 2 semesters a year. So that's 60 classes per year. You could watch 5 years of classes and not a single class is ever the same. And they're not the same because I'm bringing other people up or talking to people from some other part of the world. I'm saying something different, students say something different. Everything has a different way of being in the world. So that's kind of a sense. I'm going to teach sociology differently. And so I go into my classroom. So I tell my students, if you want facts, look it up on your own. But that's not my job. If you want information, if you want definitions to sociology terms, look it up on your own. I teach a class on racism, like race and ethnicity and culture. My students never receive a definition of race, ethnicity, and culture. Because there are so many definitions out there, I said, if you want. So what I decided as a result of that, my job is to inspire. I want to inspire them. And I'm here in Korea, and I'm giving a number of talks and doing a couple television things and so on. But that's not why I'm in Korea. I'm in Korea to listen to Koreans. Last night I had a conversation with a journalist who had interviewed me a year ago in one of your stations, and I said, can we have dinner? And I just want to talk to you. I want to hear from you. I want to interview you. And she had spent 3 years living in Canada, and I said, you're one of those people. Like, you have something to say. Like, you really do. You've lived in these two worlds. I want to pick your brain, right? That's why I teach. That's my motivation, to grow. I want to answer those difficult questions of life. I'd love to hear questions from students. Yeah, wait, is there a mic? Do we have a microphone? We do, right? So there are a couple things. One, the really rapid growth of people of Asian ancestry in the United States has taken off in the last 30 years, right? I mean, it's just it's profound. The influence of Asia, but also in the United States, and so there is a greater kind of assimilation of all aspects of Asian culture. And by the way, K culture has profoundly influenced that. I mean, this is the thing that I'm known for, here in Korea, talking about K culture and the degree to which absolutely you Koreans have opened doorways in the United States that you really cannot imagine. And this is how this is the wave. The wave has crashed over, right? It's not a wave. It's actually a tsunami. You know how a tsunami wave is. It's invisible. You don't really see it. It's not like a wave that crashes like this. It's the one that comes this way. And it is profound. And so what's really important, most recently we have this, the hatred, because of COVID, hatred of Asians or attacks on Asians. And to which I want to say, and I was telling this to my journalist colleague last night, the journalists, because they have to tell a story, but I'm a sociologist, and I look at numbers. And you got 17 million people of Asian ancestry in the United States. And the attacks on Asians went from 2,500 to 3,800. So it's almost, like 100%, 80% increase or whatever, right? But most of those attacks are name calling, and so the actual physical violence is, 300, let's say, right? You have 17 million people, 300 attacks. If you read journalism, what you see is oh, this is like, stop Asian hate, right? Here's another story of a woman of Chinese ancestry attacked with a club by somebody in San Francisco. Okay, well, that's a problem, right? But 300 out of 17 million people, it's like this. You have to. This is the beauty of sociology and numbers. You got to put numbers together. It's like flying on an airplane. The airplane isn't where you're going to have a problem. It's driving in a car to the airport. There's just an immense amount of coming together and assimilation, and especially because of Korea. I'm telling you, right? In the past 5 to 6 years, the number of people who have just opened to Asia, because people don't know the difference between Koreans and Chinese or Vietnamese and Cambodia. I mean, this is not the Taiwanese. I mean, whatever. But Korea's opened certain doorways that is like really profound, So yeah, I find that. Now there are these kinds of things, right? But both these videos were from 4 years ago. And in 4 years, because of Korea, once again, because of K-pop in particular, and K-dramas, it's like there is a lot more really people kind of blending. I'm seeing it among my students. So, and I have a big class, so I see that. So that's what I would. You got it. That is a brilliant question right there. You just asked one, right? And what did you say? You know what you say is like, you said how. How do you ask a good question, right? And how opens me up to I can answer. Now, once you put it in, I'm here, I'm in this big stage, right? You ask how. Now, how? I can go over here and answer. I can go here and answer. There are so many ways I can answer that. And a good question is one that offers people the opportunity to answer it in a dozen different ways. What do you imagine to be a good question? Like not a closed-ended question. If you ask a question that's like, can be answered with 1 or 2 words. I mean, except in rare instances, right? That if you really want to get a conversation going, that's called a closed-ended question. How are you feeling today? Well, good, bad, okay, all right. Damn, now I got to ask another one. Okay, how are you feeling today? Well, what is it? How are you feeling yesterday? What do you think's going on that really shapes how you're feeling today? You're going to tell me how you're feeling, and you're going to say something about yourself. And that's a good question. And mind you, I'm terrible at asking questions, but I have a wife who's really good at it. That's her job. And so she's taught me. I'm a slow learner, but she's teaching me. Yeah, so a good question is one that people don't have the answer to. They can answer it in lots of different ways. And they have to stop and think about it. And you have no idea what they're going to say. That's a good question.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, thanks. If you could pass the mic to someone else. Who else would like to ask a question? Thus far, we've had 2 awesome questions. Okay, so the first thing I guess I would say is, first off, it's not that different in the United States, okay? Really, your system here is really not that different than my system. Most teachers in my university teach the way most teachers teach here. Most students are the same. Most students, they expect to go in the classroom and take notes, and then they, the whole thing. I mean, this is what it is. I think if you're a student, and you have this feeling that I want more, like I just don't feel, I feel like there's something else, there's something calling me. Like there's a way of thinking, there's a way of understanding, there's something that's calling me. Just ask yourself what that is. What do I really want to learn? Do I even know what I want to know or what I want to learn? And so just lay in bed at night. Turn the lights off and just lay in bed very still and think about the fact that you're going to die and you're going to go through the light all by yourself and no one's going to be along with you. You're not taking your parents, your pets, your friends, nothing. You are all alone. And that could happen any moment. And then ask yourself, what do I want to know before that happens? What do I really want to know? And if you don't have an answer, then you ask yourself, how is it that I don't have an answer?
학생들의 질문에 기뻐하는 샘 리처드 교수의 모습을 보는 내내 미소가 지어졌는데요. 여러분, 오늘 강연은 어떻게 보셨나요? 1시간이 넘는 강의 원본은 아래 고정 댓글을 통해 확인하실 수 있습니다. 오늘도 함께 해주셔서 감사합니다.